The Bird Who Flew in Circles. A tale of courage, family, and finding your wings. In the tallest tree of the wind-whistle forest, nestled high among whispering leaves, lived a small bird named Pip. Pip had soft golden feathers that shimmered in the sunlight and bright eyes full of wonder. Every morning, his brothers and sisters would flap their wings and soar into the sky, dipping and diving through the clouds. They would chase butterflies, race the wind, and glide over the meadows below, but not Pip. Pip only flew in circles, small, safe circles close to the nest. He was afraid of heights, not of flying itself, but of going too far. The sky to him was just too wide, the wind too strong, and the world below far, far too far. "It's okay," Mama Bird would say gently, nudging him with her beak. "We all grow into our wings in different ways." But Pip still felt left behind. He would perch on the branch near the edge of the nest, watching his siblings vanish into the clouds. Then he'd flap his wings and try to follow. But as soon as the wind rushed under him and the forest seemed to drop away beneath, Pip's chest would tighten and he'd quickly loop back to the safety of the tree. "Maybe I'm just not meant to fly far," Pip would whisper to himself. "Maybe circles are enough." The other young birds didn't mean to be mean, but sometimes they laughed when Pip stayed behind. "He's still circling," chirped Nix. "Maybe he thinks he's a bee," giggled Flit. But the one who never laughed was his youngest sibling, Lulu. Lulu was still learning to fly herself and often stumbled and fluttered unevenly. She looked up to Pip, always cheering, "You flew a little farther today, I saw it." Pip would blush under his feathers and smile. Lulu made his small circles feel like big victories. One morning, after a heavy summer rain, the forest sparkled with droplets. The nest was damp, but the sky was clear. Mama Bird chirped to her children, "Fly safe, little ones. Stay close today, the wind is tricky." One by one, Pip's siblings soared off. Even Lulu, determined to practice gliding, followed the others with wobbly wings. Pip hesitated. The wind whistled softly through the leaves. He flew his usual small loop around the nest, then landed again. "That's enough for today," he muttered. But as the wind picked up, something changed. A sudden gust whooshed through the trees, bending branches and tossing leaves into the air. Pip gripped the nest tightly with his claws. Then, in the distance, he heard a tiny chirp, shrill and panicked. "Help! Help!" It was Lulu. Pip's eyes widened. He darted to the edge of the branch and looked out. Far below, fluttering helplessly near a thorny bush, was Lulu. She had been caught in the gust and blown off course. Now her little wings couldn't lift her from the ground, and the sky was filling with darker clouds. Pip's heart pounded. The ground looked so far away. But Lulu was down there, alone, scared, and he was the only one who had heard her. Pip looked down again. Then he looked at the circles he always flew, the safe small loops that never took him anywhere new. He took a deep breath. "She believes in me," he whispered. "Maybe, just maybe, I can believe in me too." And then Pip leapt. The wind caught him immediately. It rushed under his wings and around his body. For a moment, fear gripped him. The forest blurred beneath him. But then he remembered Lulu's laugh, her tiny cheer. "You flew a little farther today." So Pip flapped harder, straighter, downward, but steady. The wind swirled, but he held on. His wings ached, but he didn't stop. And soon, Pip was near the ground. The trees were giants now, and the bush looked like a green mountain. "There!" he chirped, spotting Lulu huddled beside a rock. Her feathers were ruffled, and her eyes were full of tears. "Pip!" she cried. "You came!" "I did," Pip said, chest heaving, "and I flew farther than ever." He nudged her gently. "Climb on my back, we're going home." Lulu hesitated. "Can we make it?" Pip nodded. "We have to try." She climbed onto his back, and with a deep breath, Pip stretched his wings wide. The wind was still strong, but he was stronger now. Slowly, steadily, he lifted them off the ground. His wings worked harder than they ever had, flapping, gliding, rising, higher, higher. Through branches and breezes, past startled squirrels and chirping chipmunks, Pip soared. And this time, it wasn't in circles, it was up, straight and true. By the time they reached the nest, the sky had grown dim with evening light. Pip's siblings were already home, flitting about in worry. Mama Bird stood at the edge, eyes wide. When she saw Pip carrying Lulu, her wings opened in surprise and joy. "You did it!" she gasped, helping them land. "You brought her back!" Pip gently lowered Lulu into the nest. She gave him a tired but proud smile. "You flew the farthest, Pip." Everyone gathered around, chirping in excitement. "I didn't know you could do that," said Nix. "You were amazing," said Flit. Pip, breathless and trembling, just smiled. "I was scared," he said honestly, "but love flew stronger than fear." That night, the family huddled close in the nest, safe and warm under the stars. Pip looked up at the wide sky and didn't feel so small anymore. The next morning, when the sun stretched across the forest and painted the leaves gold, Pip didn't circle the nest. He flew, far and high, not because he had to, not to prove anything, but because he finally knew what his wings were for.